In the heart of Manhattan, as the sun dipped below the skyline, casting a golden hue over the glistening skyscrapers, Nathaniel Cole stood at the edge of his penthouse balcony. His eyes, sharp and piercing, were fixated on the streets below, where the world moved at a dizzying pace. Yet, despite the wealth and power that surrounded him, a storm brewed within. Just hours earlier, his world had crumbled. "Your father's dead." The voice on the phone had been cold, devoid of empathy. The words had cut through him like a knife. The estrangement from his father, a bitter feud over the family business, had left a chasm between them. Nathaniel had always believed he could build a legacy without his father's influence. But now, with his father's death, he was thrust into a world of secrets and betrayals he never anticipated. As he processed the news, a knock echoed through the expansive living room. "Mr. Cole?" It was Sarah, the agency recommend nanny he had hired just last week for his 5-year-old daughter, Lily. Her presence was a stark contrast to the chaos in his mind. With her strong posture and determined gaze, Sarah was a woman who exuded confidence. Yet behind her poised demeanor lay an intricate web of her own. "Yes, come in," Nathaniel replied, his tone clipped. Sarah entered, her eyes scanning the room, lingering briefly on the framed photographs that adorned the shelves, pictures of a happier time, before the rift with his father, before the loneliness weighed on him like an anchor. "I thought we could discuss Lily's schedule for the week," she said, her voice smooth yet firm. But Nathaniel had no interest in schedules. His world had just turned upside down. "Let's talk about it later," he said dismissively. "I have other things on my mind, sir," she persisted. "Lily needs stability. She's still processing the loss of her grandmother." Her words struck a chord, forcing Nathaniel to confront the reality of his daughter's grief. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. "Fine," he relented, pacing the room. "What do you suggest?" As Sarah laid out her plan, Nathaniel couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her than met the eye. Her professionalism was admirable, but her passion for her work ignited a flicker of admiration within him. Still, he was wary. Trust was a luxury he could not afford. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah quickly became a fixture in Nathaniel's life. She was not just a nanny. She was a calming presence for Lily, who had been withdrawn since her grandmother's passing. But, in the shadows of their growing bond, Nathaniel's suspicions festered. He had uncovered whispers of a rival family that had long sought to undermine the Coles, the Darnells. One evening, while Nathaniel was engrossed in work, he overheard Sarah on the phone. "I know what I need to do. Just give me more time." The words were laced with urgency and determination. Nathaniel's heart raced. Who was she speaking to? That night, he confronted her. "Who were you talking to?" Sarah's expression shifted, a flicker of surprise crossing her features. "Just a friend. It's nothing. Don't lie to me," he snapped, frustration boiling to the surface. "I can't afford to have anyone in my life who's not what they seem." Her eyes hardened. "And you think you know me? You're not the only one with a past, Nathaniel." The tension thickened, a standoff between two people who were both fighting battles hidden beneath layers of facade. Nathaniel felt the walls closing in. "I'm trying to protect my daughter," he said, voice trembling with the weight of his emotions. "If you're hiding something—" "I'm not," she interrupted, her voice rising. "I'm here for Lily. That's all that matters." But as their gazes locked, Nathaniel felt a shiver of doubt. Could she be playing him? The following weeks saw a delicate balance of tension and unspoken feelings between them, all while the storm of corporate rivalry loomed outside. Nathaniel's company was under threat from the Darnells, who were merciless in their pursuit of power. Every day was a battle, and Nathaniel found himself more distracted than ever. One evening, Nathaniel returned home to discover Lily in tears, a drawing clutched tightly in her hands. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "I drew a picture of Grandma," she sobbed. As Nathaniel knelt beside her, Sarah stepped into the room, a shadow falling across her face. "Lily, honey, remember the happy times?" she offered gently. Nathaniel watched as Sarah knelt beside Lily, her voice soothing and tender. In that moment, he saw her in a new light, not just as a nanny, but as a potential ally in the storm that threatened to engulf his family. But just as the air began to clear, Nathaniel received a call that shattered the fragile peace. "Your father had a will," the lawyer's voice was clipped, "and it contained some surprises." The next day, he found himself in a dimly lit office, the lawyer seated behind a desk stacked with papers. "Your father left everything to you, but there's a clause," the lawyer continued, his gaze stern. "You must keep the family business intact for 5 years, or it reverts to the Darnells." Nathaniel's heart raced. The Darnells would stop at nothing to seize control. What about the rivalry? Your father's affairs were complicated, the lawyer replied. He had enemies, and they'll be watching closely. Returning home, Nathaniel felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. He needed to protect his daughter, his legacy, and now he had to confront the specter of his father's past mistakes. That night, he confronted Sarah again. I know you're hiding something. I need to know if I can trust you. Her gaze flickered, and for a moment Nathaniel saw vulnerability. I'm not who you think I am, she said quietly. But I'm here for Lily, and that's what matters. Why does it feel like there's more? He pressed, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. Because I have my own demons, she replied, her voice trembling. But I'm fighting them, for her. The emotional stakes rose as the Darnells made their move, launching a smear campaign against Nathaniel's company, threatening everything he had worked for. The tension between him and Sarah crackled, each day bringing them closer, yet pulling them apart. One evening, amidst a heated argument about Lily's safety, Nathaniel accused her of being a spy for the Darnells. You're not just a nanny, you're a threat, he spat. Sarah's eyes widened, hurt flashing across her face. I am protecting Lily. You're too blinded by your father's legacy to see the truth. The confrontation spiraled, leaving both of them emotionally raw. Nathaniel felt cornered, his vulnerability laid bare. But as the storm outside raged, so did the tempest within. The next day, Nathaniel received a letter from the Darnells, demanding a meeting. They were ready to escalate their war. With no choice but to confront his enemies, Nathaniel prepared himself for battle. He pulled Sarah into the fold, revealing everything he had learned. I need you by my side. We have to work together. Together, she echoed, eyes narrowing. Are you sure you can trust me? I have to, he said, his voice steady despite the uncertainty. As they strategized, the lines between them began to blur. The tension shifted from anger to something deeper, something undeniable. Then came the day of the meeting. The Darnells were ruthless, their intentions clear as they made demands that rattled Nathaniel to his core. You don't stand a chance, Blake Darnell sneered, leaning back in his chair, confidence radiating from him, but Nathaniel stood firm. I won't let you take everything my father built. As the confrontation escalated, Sarah stepped forward, surprising them all. If you want to play games, we'll play, she declared, her voice unwavering. The Darnells underestimated her, and in that moment Nathaniel saw the strength he had missed. As they walked out, a new alliance formed, a bond forged in the fires of adversity. But just as victory seemed within reach, a bombshell dropped. Nathaniel discovered that Sarah's father was an old rival of the Coles, a fact she had kept hidden. Betrayal coursed through him like ice. You lied to me, he shouted, his heart shattered. I did it to protect Lily, she cried back, desperation in her eyes. You don't understand. In the heat of the moment, Nathaniel felt the walls closing in again. The very woman he had begun to trust was tangled in the web of his family's darkest secrets. The final confrontation loomed. Nathaniel was torn between the woman who had become a part of his life and the legacy he had to protect. The climax came when the Darnells attempted a hostile takeover during a board meeting. With emotions running high, Nathaniel made a bold decision. He revealed his father's hidden assets, a plan he had discovered through Sarah's old contacts. You think you can take me down, he declared, confidence surging. I'm stronger than you think. In the aftermath, as the dust settled, Nathaniel faced Sarah. You should have told me, he said, pain etched across his face. We could have faced this together. I was scared, she admitted, tears spilling down her cheeks. I thought you'd push me away, but in that moment of vulnerability, Nathaniel reached for her. I need you, he confessed, the weight of his emotions breaking free. As they stood together, the world outside faded, their connection stronger than ever. The battle with the Darnells had forged a bond that neither of them could deny. In the weeks that followed, they rebuilt not just their lives but also their hearts. Nathaniel learned to forgive, to let go of the past, and to embrace the future. Lily thrived under their care, her laughter echoing through the halls of the mansion once more. In the midst of it all, Nathaniel and Sarah found solace in each other, their love igniting like a flame in the darkness. The final twist came when Nathaniel received a letter from his father's estate. It contained a simple message: forgive, and you will find peace. With Sarah by his side, Nathaniel finally understood. The journey ahead would not be easy, but together they would face whatever challenges awaited them. In their hearts, they carried the promise of a future built on trust, love, and an unbreakable bond. As the sun set over Manhattan, they stood hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever came next together.